Oh my goodness, Givebutter fam. Okay, we are coming. This is cool. This is like a little after hours acoustic jam kind of situation.
The
We had
VIP.
the VIP, exactly. We had the webinar, but this is where we can get real, right? Like if someone was like, how do I take my life from basic to branded? Like this is how we can do it, right? No, such great content. And for anybody who is just coming across the screen, we just had one of the most amazing webinars as a part of our Giving Tuesday webinar series, from basic to branded, how to effectively brand your Giving Tuesday campaign. We got all the tips and tricks. And now we want to do a little bit of a deep dive just for a few minutes to answer some of the outstanding questions. And then also hear some of your personal stories on how you've seen organizations evolve their brands over time. So you ready? You want to jump into this?
Let's do this.
I love that. So one of the main questions that kind of came up, and I want to vamp on a little bit, is on matching gifts. Like there was about 6 different questions. I don't even know if we talked about matching gifts. So that was like a thing that just kept coming up. But tell me a little bit about your experience with matching gifts and what I like to call cracking the corporate code, because I've had my fair share of securing corporate partners and whatnot. And it's something that I actually love, but I'd love to hear about your experience.
Yeah. Well, first of all, when I think about matching gifts, who are they coming from, right? You can approach corporations. Honestly, one of our year-end campaigns last year had a well-known, like, traditional funder give them a grant to do a match for their year-end campaign, and also the classic individual donor. Or one thing I also like to think about, especially when we're thinking about fundraising from an equity lens, is to create a match pool, oftentimes put on by your board. So it's the power structure is not necessarily just one wealthy person, triggering everybody else to follow in their footsteps. But in terms of, corporate especially, the relationships have to be pre-existing. A lot of our campaigns, like Feminist Frequencies year-end campaigns, we work hard all year with video gaming companies to build those relationships, to clue them into what we're doing. And, it's not coming out of the blue. It's not typically a new relationship. So with matches, they don't manifest out of thin air. The same thing will be true for individual donors. So yeah,
100%.
That's kind of my take. You're not going to be like, hey, I just met you, give me a $50,000 match.
I love that. I love that component of they don't just materialize over thin air, right? Like some of the biggest corporate partnerships that I've been able to secure took 8+ months to be able to actually make them happen, right? But the thing is, it always goes back to your mission, right? Like if your mission, if your brand, if your story is succinct, right? And it doesn't have to be perfect, right? Because missions and brands and storytelling evolve, right? We're messy. Thank you, right? They evolve, right? But I think that the core thing here when you're securing a corporate partner is finding people who are in alignment, right? I use the example of youth sports as I worked at a youth sports organization, but find other companies who are involved with health and wellness, or who want to get people active and whatnot, and bring them in. And a lot of times people think that you need to find the Nikes and the Adidas's, and you got to find the big shop brands. Your local corner store is that's a corporate brand. They're a corporate. They got an LLC. Then they're for me.
Just like Bill Gates is not going to save your nonprofit, Nike is also not going to save your nonprofit. Right. And honestly, my experience is that, creating a low entry, kind of a lowering the barriers to entry with sponsorships, and not necessarily being like, it's got to be 10K or nothing.
I love
that. To create a higher volume of relationships with companies that might be smaller, but for whom their commitment is actually more meaningful.
More meaningful to the community, and more long term. Yes, I love that. I love when I see things that are like first level 10K, second level 50K. I'm like, what? Yeah. First of all, that's too much. Like, and as somebody who oversees sponsorships, right? I'm like, this is a lot. You know what I'm saying? And and you have to think about it from their point of view as well. That's another thing I would think about. Like a lot of times companies are trying to get in front to be able to meet their own quotas and mission, even if it's a social quota and whatnot. So you got to think about, how am I in alignment with that? As Adrian says, alignment in terms of assignment. That's one of my favorite sayings, but it's true.
Okay, let me just say one more thing about engaging corporations in year-end campaigns, particularly on Givebutter. Another way to kind of add value, or sort of bring more value out of those partnerships, is to ask them to create a company fundraising page. Activate that peer-to-peer features of Givebutter, and like all of a sudden you might have companies who are saying, hey, employees, this year we're supporting this nonprofit.
Mhm.
We're going to match all your gifts and everybody else's. Go to this page and let's create some visibility for how much our company cares about this mission.
Come on.
Right?
And you can use things like campaign announcements. You can use these little things in real time. You can share it on social, right? To get more people involved. It's all about momentum. You know what I mean? It's all about creating momentum, even if it's you and 5 other people, right? That's 5 more people than you had before, right? So create that momentum, create space for people to get involved and stay involved and feel involved, right? I love that. Yeah. Also, just someone shouted you out. I don't know if you can see this chat, but and unfortunately it says Facebook user, so I don't know who the person is. Oh, you can see it?
No, I can't.
Okay. They said, I'm so excited to head up our campaign this year. We only raised about $2,000 last year, and I feel like you've given me so much already that blows me. That's going to blow that out of the water, and I love that. In that same vein, talk to me about how this person can use segmentation to sort of success, right? And I actually love when we see the small numbers because you can see such huge growth in the following years, right? But you already have a base. How can they take that base to the next level?
So for one thing, if you are just starting out and you don't have much of a developed donor base, I would definitely look at your inner circle and go, do I have the fodder here for a strong peer-to-peer effort? Because in reality, people are much more likely to give to their friends than an organizational message. And that is one of the classic ways to manufacture traction relatively quickly at the start of your fundraising strategy journey. So I would definitely look at that. And remember that our peer-to-peer fundraisers, it is not necessarily go after the major donor. It's go after that person who's been volunteering for you for 5 years. Go after the board, right? Invite people who are deeply engaged and long-term loyal because they are the ones who are committed to the degree where they're like, yeah, everybody join me, right? A major donor could be making the same gift to 10 organizations and have no investment in bringing their network in.
I love that.
Say, definitely do some startup work there. And that's a segment, right? You're looking for who becomes a fundraiser. And then when we think about segmentation, I think it kind of depends on your mission. You know, we talked a lot about Game to Grow in the webinar right there, which is one of our clients. They do therapeutic tabletop gaming like D&D and also Minecraft as social skills building for neurodiverse youth and adults. Right. And in Game to Grow, oh my gosh, Floyd, I just forgot what your question was.
Oh, no, it's about segmentation. Yeah, I know, right? You're talking about segmentation, how they can kind of grow. And you're talking
it's about your programs, right? So there's a whole segment there of parents of our students. So actually, this year, we are really looking forward to maximizing the campaign through that segmentation because they didn't have a database last year. So this year, we put a database together that has their programmatic contacts and all the parent info inside with donors. And now we're going to be able to pull lists for acquisition out from among the parent group that's never given.
I love that.
So that's an example. Your mission may be different, but look inside your mission. If there's potential for overlap with your programs and you have data that way and you can actually do that, that might be a good starting framework. And, you know, for an arts organization, right? Okay, who are your subscribers? Who are your multiple ticket buyers? I like to segment on engagement and behavior. And that I always find the most effective thing because there are people giving at all levels within those types of engagements and behaviors.
I love that. Talk to me a little bit about maintaining personal excitement. So you've been doing this for a long time. You've been in the game. You've been helping nonprofits. Some of them are raising 6 figures for the end of year and beyond, right? How has the development office, the development teams, how have they been able to maintain like their personal excitement and not burn out? Because I know for myself, when I was doing it on my own, there were times where I was like, I like love Giving Tuesday, but like I can't like make another post. Like I'm exhausted. Talk to me about how people can maintain that energy for the long haul.
So number one is, there's 2 things. There's getting your people rest. And the other one is smart planning ahead of time. So in terms of getting your people rest, like if you know, and our team deals with this, right? December is crazy and it's really hard to take time off. And I would just look at your whole fundraising year and go, where are the moments where like, if you can take some time off in August or September, get prep for the fact that you're about to do a long haul and, or, you know, really make sure that your organization at all levels is kind of living out that promise of work-life balance. But really the way that you do that is the second thing. Plan everything ahead of time, right? If you're going through a process where you're developing a brand and you're developing a campaign schedule and you know how many emails you need and you know how many social posts you need, then you can just basically do a sprint and create all that content. And, you know, you can pre-schedule it. Now, of course, campaigns need to be actively managed. And there are times when, say, maybe you meet your goal earlier than you thought, or you meet a match goal earlier than you thought, and you want to jump in and edit and kind of change stuff. But in my mind, the best way to not want to die during December is to spread that work out through September, October, November.
I love that. And start now, like that's a good word. So whoever's watching this, start now. If you came across this video, okay, that's a sign for you to start. Okay.
Yeah.
It wasn't random. It's a sign for you to start, but you're doing a great job. Ariel, is there a final word that you have for people on how to go from basic to branded?
Just be yourself, right? This is about creating something that feels really authentic. And if you are creating a brand that, oh, is really similar to that, one you saw in this organization over there, but they're really different from you, that's not going to work for you. Branding for an organization and branding for a campaigns, they are a deep soul search about who you are and how you might align messaging about who you are and your donors are and go on a journey together.
Come on. You need to know thyself. Come on, somebody. I love that. Because if you don't know you, how are you going to ask somebody else to invest in you, right? Like, what are we investing in, right? I love that. Ariel, thank you so much. This has been a treat for me, and I know a treat for so many other people. I appreciate you. Yeah. And this is my hope to everybody who comes across this. You will go from basic to branded this year. Come on, somebody.
Yes, you will. Yes, you will.
Everybody, for more tips and tricks, where can people stay in touch with you, Ariel?
They can stay in touch with us on our website, commongreat.us, where you can sign up for our email list. I send a lot of gifts, particularly RuPaul's Drag Race gifts and Star Wars gifts on our emails. And I say follow us on Instagram and follow us on LinkedIn, where our usernames are pretty obvious there.
I love that. And if you all want to stay in the loop of all the things that we're doing for Giving Tuesday, go to givebutter.com/Giving Tuesday. Have a great one, y'all. And I can't wait to see all the good things we can keep doing. Okay. Bye.